Good afternoon. Welcome to Rooftop Trombone 2.0. That's right. As I mentioned earlier, nobody asked for it, but here we are, Rooftop Trombone 2.0. Um, and I'll explain all about that. But first, let me tell you, in case you're new to this, a little bit about who I am and where I am. Scratching my face shouldn't do that. Anyway, um, my name is Don Bowyer. I am the Dean of the School of Arts at Sunway University, which you can see right over there. In fact, we have new technology. I'm playing with technology. It's right. It's not the tall building. It's right down in there, in front, between the tall. Actually, there is also a really tall building, but you can't see it behind this tall building. Is the university building. Anyway, um, Sunway University. I said that part in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. For those of you who don't know where Malaysia is, it's really easy to find, google.com, and it's easy to find. You can find it. Um, and Anyway, I'd like to welcome all of you here when all this crazy stuff is over and we can have people visit us again. In any case, back on March the 18th, I believe it was, Malaysia went into a total and complete lockdown. Don't leave your house except to get food or health care. Um, and I went outside on this very balcony that day and played trombone for a few minutes and said and promised that I would keep doing that. We called it a movement control order here in Malaysia, and I promised that I would keep doing that until the end of the movement control order every single day at 5 p.m. Malaysian time. Well, the initial movement control order was supposed to be was announced as being 14 days. I figured I could do 14 days. Anyway, it got extended. It got extended again. It got extended again. They changed it slightly. It was MCO, movement control order. Then it was conditional movement control order. Then it was recovery movement control order. And that stayed for a long time. And as things progressed and I got back into the office and had lots of work to do, I couldn't continue that. So I did that for 106 consecutive days. The Malaysian Book of Records, by the way, was not interested in having an entry for that because guess what? They only want accomplishments by Malaysians. They weren't interested in what I did. So I should have told them that some Malaysian watched it for 106 consecutive days. That might have counted. In any case, in any case, so after 106 consecutive days, I finally put that aside, and things have gone along modestly okay here in Malaysia for a while, but for the last couple 3 weeks, um, we've had a second wave, if you will. Now, when I say and as of today, we're back in a conditional movement control order for parts of Malaysia, including the big city of Kuala Lumpur and the surrounding areas. Um, so it's a conditional movement control order. Businesses are still open, but universities are back to online only, and public schools as well. All K through university, everything is online only, and um, and people are encouraged to work from home. So, with all that in mind, I decided today would be a good day to resurrect rooftop trombone, but with some new ideas. I know I've been talking already for 4 minutes, and it seems like it's never going to end. Much like this virus, which seems like it's never going to end. I mentioned to somebody the other day that every 4 years we have a leap year where there's an extra day in the year, 366 days. Um, I missed the notice. Apparently, 2020 we added enough days that it's now well past 1,000. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm not a science person. Maybe my provost can explain that to me. Um, Sorry, I crack myself up. Uh, so anyway, um, so today is day one of version 2, and I don't know what day it would be if we'd counted from the beginning, so I'm calling this 201 or 201, but it's season 2, episode 1, if you will. New time, also we're now at 7 p.m. Kuala Lumpur time because that allows me to finish work without having to sneak away from meetings. Also, there's a little bit of a sunset over there. It's not as colorful today as it is sometimes, but it's nice enough, and it's not nearly as hot at this hour either. So I think I've explained everything. Now I want to talk about this season's format because it's going to involve audience participation. I'm excited about that. Excuse me. Audience participation. And guess who the audience members are? That's you. All four of you. Actually, there will be many more people watch this as they wake up over the next several hours, I hope. In any case, I have a crack team, creative team, a crack creative team, crack with a K, not a P, crack creative team that met yesterday and came up with some fabulous ideas for a new twist on rooftop trombone, including a special thing we're going to do later in the week that I'll tell you about later. But what we're doing today, what I'm doing, I keep saying we like I'm the queen or something. What I'm doing today, and by the way, if you followed the first 106 days, you know I whined every day about the fact that my wife was trapped out of the country when the MCO began and she wasn't allowed back in, and 4 months later she finally came back. As it happens, she left again last month for family emergency stuff. Everything's okay. Well, not everything, but everything is as okay as it can be. And before she left, we requested permission to exit and return, and we have that permission. So she is allowed to come back, and she has a flight now. She should be back on November 1. Now, when she comes back, I can't even wave at her. She goes directly from the airport to a quarantine hotel where she has to stay in complete quarantine for 2 weeks before she can come here. So mid-November, so she can miss all the hoopla in early November. Who knows? Goodness knows what's going to happen. Anyway, I'm not going to get political today, but I do want to get back to my crack creative team and some of their ideas. And the one I'm going to use today is, I think, a really fun concept of introducing poetry to rooftop trombone. What I'm going to do today is recite. In fact, I'll even clue you up here too. Oops. There. I'm going to present a Robert Frost poem from a little over 100 years ago called "The Road Less Traveled." You've probably heard it before. But I'm going to use the trombone to express I will recite the poetry to you, but in bits and pieces, interspersed with some trombone commentary. If you ever watched all those Charlie Brown cartoons, you know how the adults are always wah, 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 wah. That's a trombone. So anyway, Charlie Brown's teacher is going to comment on this poem. And of course, there's no audience participation today, but the theme is before this time tomorrow, I'd like you to email me, and I'll give you I have a special email address for this. Don't send it to my regular email address. I'll never see it. A special email address for this, rooftoptrombone@gmail.com. I'll show it to you at the end. I'd like you to email me a poem that you think ought to be included in tomorrow or next week or a future rooftop trombone, and I will recite it and comment on it with the trombone, and we'll see how that goes. I've got another idea for images, which I'll tell you about when we're finished. I've talked enough now. Goodness, it's 7:09 already, and I haven't played a note. So, without further ado, here is The Road Less Traveled. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Sorry, I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. And looked down one as far as I could. To where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves. No step had trodden back black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere, ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. And that's today's interpretation of The Road Less Traveled by Robert Frost. Thank you so much. I think the technology worked. I'm assuming you could hear the microphone's working. I'll find out in a minute. In any case, I promised one more prep. So please, let me put that email address up. Sorry, wrong direction. rooftoptrombone@gmail.com. Send me a poem if you would like to have it included in a future interpretation on rooftop trombone. But let me say, if it first of all, it's got to be family friendly. Secondly, if it's really long, choose an excerpt. I won't do really long poetry for this because, I know my audience and I know my neighbors. So it can be a short poem or it can be an excerpt from a longer one. You choose. It could be something you wrote. It could be something Shakespeare wrote. You choose. It should be in English, I'm afraid, because that's what I do. So that's one thing. Separate from that, I want to do at least once a week and maybe more I can't stand up out here, uneven flooring. a, a sort of a pictures at an exhibition concept, except complete surprise to me, completely improvisational. So I have a curator who will organize the PowerPoint slides. I will just forward him the emails without really looking at. Actually, I'll look at them, but he will choose the ones to use and put them in order. Probably 8 or 10 or a dozen of them, and they will move along in a slideshow, and I will perform over them. But in order for that to happen, you must send photos. Again, family friendly. And it must be, here's the only rule, it's got to be a photo that you or someone you in your family took. Okay? Don't download a photo off the internet and steal somebody else's intellectual property. Something that you or your family has created. It can be a photo of you, it can be a photo of a sunset, it can be a photo of a good-looking trombone player, if you know any of those. But pick a photo, email it to rooftoptrombone@gmail.com, and when we get enough of those, we'll do a special image program. So that's you have 2 tasks for your audience participation. Send me a poem, send me a JPEG or a PNG or some kind of image file, and of course it doesn't have to be so high resolution. Don't worry about that because it's going over the internet. It's going to resolution is destroyed anyway. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope everything has worked with the new technology. I see a comment from my wife. She says, "Nice sky for your road." And I assume if you couldn't hear me, she would have said something about that. So hi, Donna in Alabama. Also, Vivian. Oh, one day soon, I'm going to have a new trombone, and I'm going to get it out here on the rooftop and play it if I can get a good sound out of it. Looking forward to that. I'll tell you more about that when that happens. It's in customs right now. Well, it's not stuck. It arrived in customs today. It might come out tomorrow. I doubt it. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will talk to you another time. Bye-bye.